Good evening and welcome to the Cover One Buffalo podcast. You are joining your host, Greg Tompsett, along with my undefeated partner in crime, Aaron Quinn. Aaron, how we doing?
Man, I never was concerned tonight. I just sat back and enjoyed the whole evening as if this was the blowout we intended it to be, Greg. I don't know. How about you? How are you doing? How's the internet doing for this one?
They're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's odd. We'll go through some of the things. I
Weird.
think Zach's spot on. That's not a game I ever want to rewatch. Like, there were so many opportunities to just pull away and put this team wanted to quit, and we had so many possessions when we were up a touchdown where we could have put it away and didn't. Ultimately, you're joining here because the Bills did win this game 31-21. It's funny that we're in a position that being 3-0 and a double-digit win is like, everybody's kind of like, all right. We scored 31 points. We, put it away in a very
Multiple 3-and-outs
easy
defensive stops in the second half. It was a wonky one, man. These are division games, though, right? Got close to getting to the spread, even though that's a
Pat spot on. Terrell Bernard came up when it mattered. It took a little while for the defense to make a play, but they made one when it mattered.
Or Tua just going to Tua. I don't know if you can see the sign. Tua is going to Tua.
Deion Walker with a quick win, getting his hands up right there in his face, forcing the quick throw.
Yep. And honestly, I think, not to jump ahead of this, I think there's going to be some weird narratives this week, Greg, that come out of this game because it was so wonky, and we're going to try to figure out some of the why. One of them will probably be similar to that play, like you said, like getting the pressures but not getting the sacks. I think that'll probably be a narrative this week of like what was going on with the defensive line. They were definitely getting pressures, which I think ultimately led to the play that we saw to ultimately end the game there. Stuff also, like that.
It's okay to be frustrated with 0 sacks against that offensive line. Like, some of it's game plan, and Miami certainly scheming to get the ball out quickly. They showed a lot of those where the plan was to get the ball out of Tua's hand. I think it was like 2.4 seconds pretty late into the game. Matthew here, Trey White definitely showed some of the age, like him isolated in space on a Waddle or Tyreek Hill is not going to go well, and it didn't. He had a couple plays where he came up in run defense, made a couple nice tackles, but him in space is not there, and we'll get to that later on. Like, obviously, I think this defense needs Ed Oliver and Matt Milano and Michael Hoyt and Larry Ogunjobi and Max Hairston. Like, Max Hairston's speed in the open field is why we drafted him. Like, those crossing routes and that frustration in space, that play late where, a younger Trey maybe puts his foot in the ground and tries to break on the ball, but instead just watches Waddle catch it 3-4 yards in front of him. That's why they made that pick. That's why they went out and got Hairston. So I think some of those things, the frustration is understandable, especially after watching Miami get thrashed by Indianapolis and then, kick back later against New England. They were 12.5 point favorites for a reason. I think that it's okay to have wanted a more controlling win. It seemed like they were on the verge of it multiple times, but both the offense and the defense had some deflating moments tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have that blocked field goal, they cover the spread. They do exactly what the Vegas thought they were going to do. This is still an NFL team, the Miami Dolphins. And I do think maybe like this week, we undersold how much, whether they're fighting for McDaniel or whatever, like these guys are still prideful, good athletes. And
they listen to everybody all week, call them.
They can build whatever individual chips, even if they're not bought into the team. And so they came out and played. Like Tyreek Hill played differently tonight than I've seen him all year. Like that was
maybe the best Tyreek Hill game against Buffalo he's ever had.
Yeah, like he looked the part. And so you saw some guys playing beyond what I had seen the first 2 weeks. And this is where this part of the season is pretty muddy too, Greg, right? Like we rush to make judgments about who teams are going to be in these first couple of weeks. And Miami looked terrible. And I'm also with you. And I think the line was fine. And I think Buffalo I think they played a better game than the scoreboard indicated. And I think they played to exactly what was expected of them in this game. It just the feel wasn't there because in that second half, like you said, there was multiple times to just put this team at an arm's length. And whether it was the offense just kind of coming stalling up and the defense making the stops, or then the defense giving up a long, painful drive, also reminded you of some old feelings about this team and maybe confirm some biases and moments of this team. Like whatever your beefives with the Buffalo Bills team, they kind of displayed some aspect of that at points tonight. Like they just didn't play a full complete game, which honestly in September is a pretty good problem to have, that you pull out a division win against the team you're supposed to beat, and there's a lot of film to watch and still improve upon.
Yeah, and I think again, ultimately, the defense that we need this team to be is going to have 3 more starters and 5 total high-end rotation players. Hopefully, I'll knock on wood here, hopefully available later on when the time comes for it to matter. But a couple of the super chats here, Padden, everything is under control, situation normal. We had a slight offensive weapons malfunction, but everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine now.
Pretty much.
Thank you. It's certainly ultimately they're going to walk away, I think, healthy. I don't think anything Christian Bernard there was long term. I saw him favor like his chest a couple times. I think he got rocked pretty good, but hopefully just knocked the wind out of him. Nothing serious. It made a couple tackles later on that I think we would have been in trouble if there was anything serious.
Sure.
Jason saying the third down defense. Holy cow! Please, I want an easy game for once, and we did. We had that last week with the Jets. I think this week seeing Miami go 10 of 15 and at 1.8 of 10. Having that means that they
had
closed
a super easy game.
Yeah, 2 of 5 later on. So we just had one of those, and now Miami, hung around and played a little bit tougher. Todd here saying, happy with the W, needs work, but just got to have the mentality. Every week you going 1-0, like they're saying, is going to be tough. They went 1-0. And again, all of us here are kind of like either frustrated or explaining, well, it's not actually that bad. It's okay. We put up 31 points and won by 10.
Put up 31 points. And honestly, like even defensively, Greg, look at some of the statistics. I don't want to box score scout here. And I know there was 2 drives that to me felt really frustrating, but when you look back at it too, there's some plays that were luck. And I even texted Eric at one point. I was like, Tua can't keep putting the ball where he's putting it. Like at some point, Tua's going to Tua here. They're getting the pressures, right? It felt frustrating, but he only threw for 146 and probably 50 yards of that was, or maybe not 50, 30 something yards of that was garbage time in that last 40-second or whatever they got the ball back. And Buffalo's just giving up yards. Like he didn't play great. He played within the system. He didn't make the mistakes until late. Achane was running well, but they only ran on him for 12 times for 62 yards. Like they had 130 on the ground. Tua probably did more with his feet than I would have bet on.
Created a little bit in the pocket more than I
which is
expected.
Painful to see. I'd mark some of those plays to go watch back because how you let him pick up a 3rd and 7 is painful. But ultimately, like I think the narratives will be more alarmist than it looked because it stayed close. Like that third quarter was just how many times did we come on and do these post-game shows where it was a third quarter like this, where it's like, the defense finally buckled up after the second half, got some stops, and the offense just stalled, and you weren't playing complimentary football when you needed it.
Yeah, at one point we traded 4 straight punts, punt, back and forth, and ultimately you eventually gave them a shot, and they do have those things, and that's what I think is frustrating. Is it felt more deflating because when they didn't get a stop, they drove all the way down the field. They were able to get touchdowns on those handful of drives. They still, caused a turnover in 4 punts. Like they stopped them multiple times. They stayed on the field with those third down conversions. So the drives felt long horrible and deflating. And that's frustrating. And I think some of the individual things, here, cornerback play was very upsetting. Cliff saying, not surprised McDaniel proved he can coach football. Tua will with any sort of time will hurt you. That's factually accurate. Like
I don't think this football team is as bad as like the ratings looked the first 2 games. Like they can play football.
Patton here, maybe the solution to have our 2nd and long offense practice against our 3rd and long defense. We'll get to it when they had that moment. Like we're driving the whole time. The first time that we call like an inefficient play, we run on 2nd and long, it gets stuffed, it gets us into obvious passing downs where the only 2 good defenders that Miami has actually have value. Phillips and Robinson are able to rush. They sacked Josh, and then God punished us with a shank field goal because we ran the ball on 2nd and long.
Was it a shank or a block? Because they never replayed it, unfortunately, and I want to know. So
I think it was just a shank. I will say Miami's players celebrated like it was a block, so I don't know if it was. So Miami's punt block or field goal block collapsed that side of the line. I don't know if they celebrated because they assumed that they blocked it, or if they actually blocked it.
Or is it
but I will say they were celebrating like they did, and it was a horrendous kick.
Or it could be like cornerbacks who just celebrate like a ball hitting the dirt that they didn't do anything, and they're like, yeah. Classic.
Another one here. Love you guys, by the way. It's just like a reach. The on top of us. Okay. The on top of us. Okay. Glad we won. Glad the game's done. I was there and loved hearing Mr. Brightside keep it. Thank you. I'm glad you were able to go to the game. It was gorgeous weather. Dom, one of our favorites in the Discord channel, straightforward workman-like win, closer than we'd like, but Josh with an almost perfect game. We'll get to that in a moment. I think it's underselling some of the other pieces here in INT when we needed it. Great win. They're able to put that together. My name is Jeff. Here's a penny for every time the announcers praise the Dolphins. There's probably still in the pocket. I will say we are now getting the other side of the announcer treatment where it is in every announcer's best interest to talk up the possibility of a comeback. And when we're winning so often, it's really obnoxious. So I have to assume that like the Patriots had to deal with this for a long time because it's constant now, and it's really, really frustrating because it sounds like they're rooting for the other team, and really they're just serving themselves of trying to keep the audience listening because they talk up the idea of a comeback. Romo was horrible in the last game, but tonight they had to talk about it because that's their job is to keep. It was there. It was real. They were right. Like,
they had the ball.
Miami came back and tied it.
5 minutes left to take a lead. Yeah,
like they had the ball and the chance to do those things.
Yeah,
Bill Strick, I have been trying. They said appreciate your coverage on Blue Sky. I have been making an effort lately to try to post a little bit more over there. And our last one here, I will never be upset with the W, but our goals are bigger, and I've seen a worse third down defense since McDermott has been here. It has gone on for over a year. I will say. Again, being frustrated in the moment, we'll get over this. You have to remember there's 5 more guys that are going to be playing who weren't on the defense there tonight who are going to be a part of this. So they still kept them to 21 points. They still did the job when they needed to, and they did it with multiple major guys that are going to be a big part of this defense that are not there right now that will be there when the moment happens. Several of them at, 3 big defensive linemen involved there. And again, some of those guys in space were because we had to have Shaq Thompson and Dorian Williams in coverage. That's never going to be their strength. We need those things to be there. So there are reinforcements coming here. And hopefully we see that athleticism and elite speed from Max Hairston is exactly where some of those frustrating things came from. Maybe he can break on some of those balls to be able to make a bigger play in the moment.
Yes. I think clear one warning I want to just give people on that note is like we always say, I think it'll fix one problem, but might create another at times.
He might blow some coverages where he's not in position and Trey keeps things in front of him.
There's going to be differences. There's going to be problems on this defense. It's not a complete defense, I don't think, even when they get those guys back. But I think this is probably going to be where I start my day tomorrow, is diving into the defense, because I think the narrative's coming that it was a really poor performance, and I'm not sure it's true. I think it was a couple of drives that felt really frustrating. The third downs, I can't sit here and justify, right? That was a problem last year. It needs to not be a problem this year, but I'm going to look at every single one marked to watch here. But I think the optics of how the defense performed don't match what I just saw, to be honest. And this was a team that's desperate. Like, they were going to score some points tonight. Even Vegas predicted that, right? It was a 48 points over under.
Almost spot on.
Yeah. And so, I mean, this was almost a spot on game for how it was predicted to go. And I'm never going to be mad at either side of the ball when it ends up pretty much how everyone in the world's predicting it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So, let's start out with our guys here. Josh Allen, 22 of 28 for 213 yards, 7.6 yards per attempt. A very, very, clean performance. And again, they had a little bit of a stretch where they made a couple of plays on defense in the third quarter there where, we were checking it down a little bit early, but really, really strong performance there. He added another 4 for 25 rushing and a couple first down pickups on that side of it here. And, there's plays where, Pratik here and say dating back 24, it seems like the intermediate to deep passing attack is heavily reliant on Allen's legs and improbability. That's the NFL.
Yeah.
There's not guys who are doing 5-step drops and letting it rip. No. The too high shell of defenses has taken that away. Almost all big plays are second effort scramble drill plays. Like that's where the vast majority of that comes from across the league. The Bills are able to do that because we have Josh Allen, and that makes that
that's almost
feasible.
all Miami got tonight too, because Tua extended some plays and made those plays too.
There are I'm not saying none, but very, very few designed deep shot plays that are like, hey, 5-step drop, 7-step drop, uncorking it. Every once in a while, you'll have some play action shots that hit like that within scheme and within plan. The vast majority of those are second play. So, second scramble after the play breaks down, and then scramble drill stuff where you get the big plays afterwards. But again, I don't think we've run as much play action as I would have liked. We're really low percentage wise around the league.
I've got some beefs with how Brady's dialing certain things up, and I get the plan for like how they want to play football, but like when we go through the drive-by drives, we can point out more. But like they started this game with that type of deep shot that you talked about to Keon Coleman, and I thought we could maybe spam a little more of that. Like I know they want to control the game, they want to get on the ground.
And in fairness, we were shoving the ball down their throat. It was like 4, 5, 7 yards every single play.
James got a great game. I get it.
We had no negative plays for like the first 3 drives until the second and long run. We literally had no negative plays the entire time.
It was working. But that's an area that I thought that was going to be maybe more exploited in this game. And I was watching on Prime Vision, but I still want to kind of watch back what the coverage over the top looked like and what those safeties were doing. Because I thought that was an area to exploit, and they went after it on the first play, which made me think they also saw that. So either something changed or they just wanted to run the ball down their throat and get out of this game.
Yeah, and I'm a little disappointed that the chat's helping out. You haven't, congratulated me once on Deanne Walker looking really nice, but
he had some nice plays tonight. I am a little frustrated with the defensive line as a whole tonight. And so like I'll hand out a couple like flowers individually on plays, but as a whole unit, even without the additions that are supposed to be coming, I did expect more tonight.
They chipped and helped on Bosa a lot. He had a lot of effort pressures. He did not have a lot of quick wins. I'm not exaggerating. I do not remember one play from Gregory Rousseau tonight.
I did. I saw some contain plays. I saw a couple pressures. Nothing splashy, nothing great.
Yeah, I remember
seeing
the
frustration from people.
I remember seeing the back of AJ Epinez's jersey a couple times chasing guys from behind.
EJ made that really nice play where he pushed somebody right into Tua. He did. He brought a guy right up into Tua. It wasn't a great night from the defensive line,
and that's
as a whole.
From the overall raw results, let alone the relative perspective of this is a really poor offensive line that you should have had some quick wins on. Like and again,
Deanne Walker got the ball
on the interception play, and their play design is to get the ball out quick. So again, we'll look back and it's not going to be quite as bad as where it is, but
they made
I was disappointed with that.
They made their offense look different tonight too. The Dolphins, like they made more of an attempt. We talked to Tom about this. Like they stuck to the run.
They ran the ball 25 times. That might be the most they do all season.
I think that they made a point to stay more balanced, and that was good for them. I think it allowed them to keep some of these drives going and get themselves into some third and short. Not all those third downs are third and longs. There were some frustrating third and longs, but they got themselves in good position for some of these third downs to convert. And so I think they kept things on schedule more than we've seen this year and sort of corrected ship on some of the problems that they were having also.
Yeah. And then Steve bringing up here missing Ed and Michael Hoy. I have no idea why everyone is so already certain that Larry Ogunjobi doesn't matter. He's good.
No, he'll be good.
Like the 4 years that he played in our style of defense, he had 20.5 sacks. He had the similar amount of pressures as Ed Oliver through all that stretch. And then he did play out of like misused in a 3-4 for a little while there, but when he's in a 4-3, he's a very productive player. So again, I think
rotationally it'll be interesting to see how
just a handful of play, like him coming in instead of Zion Logue and a guy that can come in, and instead of Daquan Jones staying on right now, he's staying on the field on pass rush snaps. So when we have Ed Oliver and Ogunjobi as the two defensive tackles, it's going to be really nice in pass rush snaps. So all those guys are going to be. Steve saying it's because I can't spell Ogunjobi. That's fair. That's a good one. That's duly noted. Again, so Josh nice, efficient game. Definitely a couple plays he's going to want back, a couple things that he was pretty safe. We did not take a lot of shots down the field.
No.
The run game was exceptional. 27 rushes for 157 overall. A nice one for Elijah Moore and a nice one for Ty Johnson got called back. Everybody contributed. James Cook 19 for 108, and I swear James Cook was an ankle swipe away from 6 big plays. Like he almost broke a 40-yard touchdown like 6 different times, and like every time I was like, oh, and I made that sound in my basement to my TV so many times, and then they would swipe his ankle. And I will say I timed it intentionally. I had Prime Vision on my smaller TV, and it was like a second or two ahead of the regular broadcast, so I could see the play with the full view, kind of see what happened, then watch the broadcast. It was like the best viewing experience ever. Like I could see the whole play developing, know where to look, and then focus on that on the broadcast. It was really, really nice, and he was so close to so many big plays, and he still had ended up 19 carries for 108, 5.7 yards per carry, another touchdown, and he contributed 3 more catches for 10 yards. Ended up being an awesome James Cook game.
Yeah, at the Prime Vision watching, I tweeted it out, like watching like an Aaron Cromer offensive line with 3 tight ends in, and watching James Cook just kind of like swim through that like wreath of big bodies. How he's so wiggly and he can just like squirm in there, and seeing it from that Prime view over the top, because that's even different than the all 22, right? The all 22 you get the field goal. This is like from above, really, and you get such a good view of those rush lanes. And there was a couple where it was just like, I
thought he was the one I thought he was taken to the house. But the one where the safety came like flying through and missed, but swiped as he went by, and I thought he was going to kind of give it the hop step and take it to the house, and just caught his ankle.
Yeah,
there were so many of those.
But this is the game of football. That's how I felt on a number of plays, even defensively. Like we didn't get the sacks, but there was a few of those blitz plays where I was like, and it was just like just out of the way, or just missed the guy. And it's like, man, it could have been a 3-4 sack night. Instead, you're looking at 0 sacks, and we're talking about how the Bills don't get enough pressure, even though the amount of pressure was still the same, right?
It's super weird that Tua was 22 of 34 for 146 yards, and I actually thought he played really good. Like, I actually thought he played really smart and played a pretty good game.
This is Tua at his best, right? As a game manager.
Yeah, game manager. Yeah, we don't let up the big plays over the top, so it's certainly that way. From a receiving standpoint, the tight end breakout game, like Dawson Knox, great blocking, didn't actually get a target tonight. Jackson Hawes with a flipsy touchdown. Dalton Kincaid, multiple really big catches, 5 for 66 and a touchdown,
and some nice blocking again.
And Dalton Kincaid has absolutely gone from a concern, net negative, people wondering if Jackson Hawes was going to take his roster spot because of the blocking, to
a primary weapon.
I'll go as far as to say an above average blocker. Like, I think he's better than average, which is why you would have never gotten me to say that.
Shout out Boris.
Coach Boris. Seriously. Khalil Shakir, welcome back game. Kind of a quiet start to the season, just because so many other people got the ball. And
I think that injury was probably lingering for him. He was taped up pretty good for a little while. But the speed looked back today more so than we've seen. Like he had that,
especially the yards after catch.
Yeah, that yards after catch burst was there. Elijah Moore looked great with the ball.
He was next on my list. Like, actual part of the offense, the jet sweep, another really nice jet sweep that got called back that would have been kind of the game salting, like 20-yarder that got called back, put us in 1st and 20. Terrell Shavers with 2 clutch catches, those 2 for 24. I think they were both first downs on big plays. Just really, really nice overall to be able to spread it around that way and make that kind of contribution to be able to do it.
I don't know if this is premature or not, but I'm almost there on Keon, but definitely for Dalton, I feel like it's happening. I feel like what we wanted to occur is happening for him. The connection is there with Josh. He made some like crazy athletic plays today. That touchdown to make that catch, like to grab it out of the air, and then it didn't look that graceful, but to keep your balance up to make it into the end zone is such a high athleticism play. Yeah. He showed the burst. He showed answering the call of what Bean, I think, and McDermott were saying at the end of last year, the physicality. You're seeing it in the run game, and it's leading to, Brady talks about this all the time. It's not just the lip service or coach speak. Doing those things get you more targets. It gets you more involved in the offense. I think that we're finally seeing that come to fruition. To have him be the leading receiver in a night where you score 31 points has to be good for all Bills Mafia to see that on display and know that that's going to be a big part of the offense as they go forward.
Yeah, our guy RJ here, always here supporting us. We appreciate you. Honestly, I think this was kind of. I had this as a joking hot take most of the summer, mostly just to poke at Mark Ryan, who's one of our OG favorite guys in the Discord channel, who is always dismissive of, every summer flash in the pan guy the fans will get excited about.
Everyone you and I like.
Defense, most of them are Chase Claypools and Brandon Riley's and those guys in that.
Remember Trent Sherfield when we were all convinced?
Yeah, there were moments. Hey, Matt Collins became a thing. So
he had a touchdown. There's been a couple last weekend too. Yeah.
I think the way that RJ is phrasing this, he's saying Elijah Moore looks like our vision for Curtis Samuel when we signed him last year. That's pretty close here. Like fourth receiver that contributes when you need him, has enough wiggle for the jet sweep. You're able to get him in space. That play tonight where he got the ball and then created another 15 yards after catch. It is very much what we kind of envisioned. We saw the flashes. I think there was that one like Colts game that Curtis Samuel had. Like there's been a couple flashes only when other guys have been hurt and when he got funneled some of the targets here tonight where all the rest of the receivers are healthy and Elijah Moore is still able to contribute from his role and move there. I think they can use it. They use him also in the same way that they do Shakir with that orbit motion return play. It is seeming like he's, again, we talked about it. We'll get to Prater in a second here. That's Elijah Moore's job now. Like that's no longer injury relevant to Curtis Samuel. That is Elijah Moore's job. If he gives them a reason to need to consider Curtis Samuel, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But Curtis Samuel is now Elijah Moore, Khalil Shakir insurance. That's it. He's slot guy insurance.
Yeah. I don't, no offense to RJ. I think that was always the point of an Elijah Moore, was that you bring in a guy, we want this role in our offense, and Elijah Moore hasn't proven it in the NFL, and Curtis Samuel hasn't proven that he can stay healthy. And so you take more shots at that to get that role to work, right? And now Elijah Moore is available and proving that he can do that role. So yeah, I think you put Curtis Samuel in that back seat because he hasn't earned that spot on this offense, even if he becomes healthy. And that's good insurance to have. I think this was smart roster building by Bean. You see a need, you see a want, you don't just settle for adding it in one way, even though they paid Curtis Samuel real money to fix that role, right? Like that was a real substantial. They had that expectation for Samuel an offseason ago. I think getting ahead of that and bringing and grabbing a chance at him more is just good roster construction, because you still need that. You didn't hit on it in the previous year, and so you continue to add to that, even though you invested some money in that position. So I think it's good on Bean, and this has worked out for them. And I don't think we've seen the end of Curtis Samuel, because I think that's going to rotate. We're going to have to deal with some injuries at wide receivers a year ago. So I think we'll expect to see a rotation of all these guys, but it's great to see more playing in this offense and being what we expected going into the preseason, because summer didn't look great for him as much as I expected it to. And so it's nice to see him kind of coming into his own in this offense.
I am now coming around to the idea that Todd here, and I've had a couple people poke me online about it, just because I had been pretty outspoken when I was still, skeptical that the Bills would extend Cook, that I thought Davis could do an awful lot of what Cook does. And I've admitted, like, there's been enough plays this year that there's a difference between them. I've been a little bit surprised how much of a backseat it's taken, that I almost think now that they've signed Cook, they've expanded his role a little bit, in that the only other opportunity is when Ty Johnson comes in as the third down back. This has now been enough here where, like, Ray Davis is a backup now, and almost like only when when James Cook needs a breather. It doesn't seem like there used to be a rotation where it's like 2 drives for Cook, 1 for Davis, or like every once in a while they'd give Davis a drive, and now it's, hey, if James Cook doesn't need a breather, you're the backup.
Yeah. I think it's a perfect role for him, to be honest, because I think a little bit of Ray Davis's game is getting touches, getting into the game. And
we saw it in that Jets game last year when he's the primary back.
I think that's where he probably serves best. And I would even go as far as to say, like, if something was to, God forbid, happen to Cook at any point this year, I would almost want to see Ray Davis like get more of the volume and Ty Johnson stay in that role that they have him, because I think
it would be. I don't think Ty Johnson passed him. I just think it's tweaked the role that like, hey, Ty's third down role still exists, and what used to be 2/3, 1/3, which is basically how the touches work out. 2/3 James Cook, 1/3 Davis, is now 80-20-ish, if not less. I mean,
now we got to get our monies back from.
We do. Cook has to earn his money. The Ravens game and the Dolphins game combined, I think it's 1 carry for both games.
I think it says a lot about Ty Johnson and what they think of him in that role, right? Like they're and I think also outside of that role, he does some things outside of just that third down specific role within this offense. There were some looks in week 1 that I would like to see more as the year goes on. Remember, this is still super early, right? We still have a super early sample size. They've done some stuff where it's Ty Johnson and Ray Davis in a dual backfield set, and Ray hasn't gotten a lot of those touches yet, but there's something Joe's cooking up there. So I think Ray will have games where maybe he's more a part of it, but I think right now it's just a testament to Ty and what he means to this team, and James Cook's your guy. Like, I think they're trying to make him as much of a bell cow as exists in kind of modern NFL right now. Like, you paid him to be your premier back, give him premier back.
And he's earned it. Like, he's looked exceptional. Like, he has looked unbelievable. Correct. Correct. I don't want him off the field.
Correct.
So 2 quick updates here. 1, it does look like it was just a shank kick. We'll get to that in just a second. But 1 ball that was tipped, Deanne Walker tipped the ball that was the Terrell Bernard interception.
He did tip it. Nice.
Yeah, got a hand on it. So it's a little something there. Special teams pretty crappy tonight. Like, pretty bad. We had a nice little run there. Brandon Codrington muffed a punt and was okay on the returns. Didn't get any big ones. It was okay on kick returns. It didn't do anything on the other 2 punt returns. As of right now, I still don't have any evidence that it was blocked. It looks like, and I will say, the entire left side of the line collapsing might have thrown off Matt Prater and been the reason that he shanked it. But right now, it looks like it was just a shank. He made his other kicks tonight, made all 4 extra points, made the other field goal, including the clutch field goal to lock it up and put the game away. Cameron Johnston was fine in his 2 punts and protected himself and made sure that the referee noticed that he got roughed ridiculously on the play by Zach Sealer. I actually thought the broadcast was a little heavy-handed in like how much they kept showing him. Like, the guy thought he had a chance to block it. He's a stud. That is one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Blew up Reed Ferguson, dove, was fingertips away from blocking it and missed it. And then, yes, when you thought you were going to block it and barely miss, you usually hit the punter. Like, that wasn't some egregious mistake. If he was,
I've seen that not get called. Further, I've seen it not get called. I've seen it. Yeah, I'd be frustrated if I was a Dolphins fan, because obviously it totally
and they deserve to bring it up. But like, good Lord, like they kept when we scored the touchdown afterwards, they just stared at him for like 5 seconds on the broadcast. Like, good Lord, like, he's their best defensive player. Like, settle down.
Yes, yeah. No, it was a little over the top, but they got to build the intrigue in the story, right?
Yeah, gotta
do their job.
Lean into the drama.
Yeah.
All right. So as we go through here now and look at the drive by drive, it started out in a pretty frustrating manner. One, we give up a huge kick return. D. Eskridge right off the bat, 54 yards, all the way out across midfield. The Dolphins literally started in Bills territory at the 47-yard line. Mm-hmm. And we had this third down defense coming up here. They get 5 yards on 3rd and 4. We get him into third down again. They get an 8-yard run on 3rd and 1. We get it down there onto third down on the goal line.
Real quick on that 3rd and 4, I don't think Tyreek Hill caught the ball? Well,
They
he gave the
shouldn't.
Bills.
He didn't.
Yeah, it looked like
It
he
looked
was
like he did
juggling
initially,
possession.
and
So,
people were focused on the toes, which he did get in. But if
yeah,
you
but
watched
not
it back,
while.
the ball bobbled again, and when he secured it, he had one in. I don't talk a lot by myself in there. I literally said, "I like challenge it, challenge it, challenge it," and was waiting. And
I was kind of hoping that the sky judge would step in on that
correct,
one,
or like,
because
what's the point of us having the referee guy up at the box? Like,
right.
I
I
don't
mean,
like
yeah,
that's not.
McDermott hasn't been awesome
No, correct. And
in that
like there
category.
are some judgment calls I'll put on McDermott. That one's not on McDermott. Like he's not in position to see that. Someone has to tell him, like that's our staff's fault. Someone has to tell him, like, hey, someone needs to challenge that. Like that's our team's for like that staff failed there. There are judgment calls where McDermott has challenged it where he's looks silly. This was someone needed to tell him. Like, because otherwise everybody else was like, we were probably looking at the feet, seeing Tyreek Hill drag it and be like, oh man, that's actually an annoyingly nice catch.
Yeah, this
Someone
wasn't that.
needed to tell him, hey, throw the challenge flag, throw the challenge flag, throw the challenge flag. That one would have been on 3rd and 4. It would have made it 4th and 4 at 4th and
It would have been right
4.
around midfield, right? Because they started
Yeah,
basically at midfield.
that one would
And
have been at the 41. So that's like a 58-yard field goal. That's probably it probably would have been a 4th down attempt. Like we would have had a shot to get him off the field there on 4th down. And again, that one hurts.
That was a tough one because it extends this drive, and good on Miami for taking advantage of that. Sure. Though you can extend a drive and not put the points on the board, so good on them for recouping and taking advantage of it, because we did it later. We recouped on a drive we didn't deserve to extend.
Yep. So the first one we did deserve. It was a very, very efficient, easy one. The first was an automatic, ridiculous pass interference. Jack Jones was holding Keon Coleman for 15 yards of the route. Like he just was grabbing on inside his shoulder pads, like grabbing inside there, riding him down the field. It was such a dumb first play to have, but we'll take the free yards because we had a penalty on the opening return to add to our fun special teams day, and then it was just yards every single time. 5-yard pass, 16-yard run, 11-yard run, 3-yard run, 9-yard pass, 1-yard run, 20-yard touchdown to Dalton Kincaid. And that, just looked easy the entire time. Never in concern. That first drive, we didn't have a 3rd down. We just kept getting either a 1st down over and over again or converting on 2nd down. We didn't even get into 3rd down. Dalton Kincaid looked really nice on that touchdown on the opener there and made it look very, very easy.
Yeah, this was I tweeted out earlier before the game, go in, handle your business. You're a favorite. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to go in and do this. And it felt very business-like, right? Like, defense gave it up. I felt okay, though. Like, that's been the story on Babich and McDermott is you give up that drive and then you adjust. That's gone on since Frazier, right? So it's like, okay. But the way the offense looked was like, man, if it takes the defense a half to adjust, like this offense can't be stopped. We'll be all right. So that was the vibe I was feeling. Great start from Brady. And I want people to remember the people that are frustrated with Brady and the way that offense flowed at times. Like his scripted stuff has been fantastic to start this year. Like we've got it good. I saw some takes in there during that 3rd quarter online of like, whoa, I can't wait for Brady to get fired so he can be out of here. It's like, oh my God, we're so spoiled. We're so entitled.
Settle down. The reason it felt so under control is we come right back, get a 3 and out. We get an incompletion early on. We get the mugged up look that gets Tua all nervous, doesn't even get the snap on the shotgun play, ends up kind of having to scramble for a couple yards there. And we end up getting a punt right back. The Bills get the ball, answer right back, 10 plays, 63 yards. This one again, 9 yards, 11 yards, 12 yards.
I got to step in here for a second because this one is my West Herr drive of the game here.
Love it.
Because at this point in the game, I told you, I was just feeling super confident in the way that offense looked. And then you get the defense out there and boom, exactly what I said. You go on the first drive, you kind of feel out this offense. You come out and you get a quick stop, get the ball back to your offense. And then you come out 1st and 10, Cook for 9 yards. You get your first Elijah Moore jet sweep motion sweep of the day. Get a first down out of that. Like, you're moving. Kincaid for 12. Then you start kind of look small chunks here. 4 yards, 4 yards. You end the first quarter. Kincaid close to getting a long touchdown on this one, and I'm not even going to get mad at him because it was a good throw.
The one incompletion in the first 2 drives might have been the best throw of the game.
It was a great throw, and he had a chance to make the catch, but it would have been a top throw and catch.
Credit to Ashton Davis. Like, there was a phenomenal play for him to get back in there, get a hand in there. That should have been an awesome highlight touchdown.
It should have been an awesome highlight touchdown. But then you get Shakir for 9 yards. You get a 3rd and 1. Coleman, like, Josh just put one on Keon. That was like a physical play. And I really thought they would, side note, I thought they would spam that like physicality of Keon versus those corners a little more in this game, because we saw it here early working out in the Bills' favor. And then this is where you get the 1st and goal. Josh rolls out. Haas takes his block, puts his block into the ground, kind of rolls with Josh. This is what I was talking about, last week or the week before, Greg. Every time they're in the red zone, I need to see Josh rolling out, forcing defenders to make a decision. Because when he gets going out there, dude, he's like Jason Kidd running the break. Like, he can take it himself. He can just dump it off, and he dumps it off to Haas, who only makes plays. He only makes big positive EPA great plays for the touchdown, and you go up 14-7. And regardless of how the game went up to this point, I felt like this was going to be a bigger blowout than even we predicted. The way the offense was moving to this point, your defense kind of locked in here, got to stop. I thought we were just going to blow the doors off this place and party all night. Maybe like even record playing Mr. Brightside type of night, but it didn't go on beyond that. But that's my West Herr drive of the game, because they started the game exactly how I needed to see them start it.
Yeah, we'll get another one coming up here where there was where my choices, but well played. I think that was well deserved of it, and like you said, it kind of felt like we were about to run away with it here. The reason it felt that way
is back after this,
we came right back with another 3 and out, and this one getting the ball out quick, some really nice open field tackles, not giving them any chance there. Taryn coming right up on that 3rd down, and now all of a sudden it's okay. Well, they got a little bit fluky, and it was just because the kick return on that opening drive.
Yeah, they got put together position.
Back to back. We gave them an easy one. We didn't challenge that 3rd down catch. Now back-to-back touchdown drives, back-to-back 3 and outs. We get the ball back, and this one starts the exact same way.
Yeah,
we get a quick pass in the 26-yarder to James Cook. That's the one that I thought he was going to take to the house.
Yep.
And it's still a 26-yard run, but I thought that was going to be a 67-yard touchdown run. Then we get a second incompletion here where we're not able to get one. I was like, oh, we have 2 incompletions. We get a nice chunk of it back to Keon Coleman. Then you get that Terrell Shavers one, which I thought was set up really, really nicely on that play. Keep moving the ball down. And then this is one where, again, it's not the end of the world because we were really efficient. You're at the 16-yard line. You get a 2-yard pass, so it's 2nd and 8. And again, I understand we've been running the ball really, really well, but running the ball on 2nd and long, just really frustrating. They were weirdly ready for it.
And not only that, they just lost Marshall and Jack Jones on back-to-back plays. And I was just talking about the physicality of Keon Coleman, which we saw in the first rep of the game. They couldn't handle that. And Jones just went out at an already weak secondary. I was screaming at the TV to like attack that. Like, you just lost 2 guys there. Go at it for a couple plays, spam it till they're back in. And then they just turn around and hand it off for no gain. Oh.
And the combination of that, trying to catch him in that run, and we'll never know. Like, did Josh check into that because of the look? Did they bait him into that? Make it look like a lighter box.
Sure I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure that was all part of it. But now you get it into 3rd and long, and that defense is so limited. But they do have Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb and Chop Robinson, and like the only chance they have is obvious passing downs to be able to use that pass rush. We didn't let them set that up very many times, but here you get it. You get the sack and knocks it back to 4th and 15. Now we're kicking what should be an easy field goal, and they collapse the line. And whether it freaked, Prater out, or it got blocked, or he just shanked it because of everything going on. He had been perfect up to that point. He ended up being perfect after that point as well.
Yeah,
but it was
that's big at this point in the game.
Yeah, like a weird a weird vibe flip there
Well, you
where
get a huge swing here because
yeah,
this is
and
where and for
this
those that
should have
don't
been
believe in momentum because you can't
oh,
quantify it, this felt like as soon as that
yes.
kick, it felt like the air came out of the stadium and that Miami like had life. They felt some life in the game.
And it should have been the third straight touchdown drive, everything under
Yeah.
control,
Off 2 turnovers by your
off
defense, 2 punts.
multiple 3 and outs. And if you score there and get the touchdown there and go up 21-7, I do think that's the kind of moment where that
You
team would
quit.
have been like, all right,
You quit
fine.
a
And
curve,
like now it's deflating for them.
which
And
is
it becomes just a walk away the rest of the game and goes through. And instead, they capitalize on easily their best drive of the season. Like their
oh,
best
for
drive of
sure.
the entire season. They get the ball back here
Gordon
with
looked great on this drive.
6 minutes and 3 seconds. They go on a 16 play, 71-yard drive, milk the entire rest of the clock. This is a Buffalo Bills drive. This is what we do to teams. They kept that team, our defense, on the field for a 16 play drive.
Mhm.
They converted third downs once. They converted again on a 3rd and 12, 19 yards to Tua. They get it to third down and convert on a 10-yard one to Tyreek Hill again for 3rd and 10. We
Yeah.
get him to 3rd and 7. They convert with a 8-yard scramble by
That
Tua
was the worst one of
Tagovailoa.
the night. That one that took me flashbacks to, like, during those Patriot years when, like, Tom Brady would run for a
Yes,
first down
yes.
or, like, the Chiefs would have, like, Matt Castle, and he would pick up, like, a 3rd and 12 randomly, and it's just like, dude, you can't have those plays, but, yeah, that was the worst one of the night for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Another third down conversion
it's
that
great.
Tyreek Hill again,
Yeah.
he looked as explosive as he's looked in a long, long time, really focused, probably trying to bump up his trade value. And
Yeah.
then, gets Waddle on that touchdown, and all of a sudden it's like, what? How did they score with 8 seconds to go?
Yeah.
They
It was
put
perfect.
together a 16
Perfect
play
for him.
drive, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, it's gonna go to halftime tied 14 to
Yeah.
14? What is going on? And it was just that one moment from that second and long run through that drive that we just went from like, oh, we had like this is about to be a party the rest of the day. And you're at that moment with like 7 minutes to go in the second quarter. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait, how did we let them back into this game?
Yeah. What it should have been is a field goal, good, putting you up 17-7, and then you getting the ball back at the 148 mark on a 3rd and 10 and not what Tyreek did. Honestly, I can't even tell you what my notes say. It just says Hill, Yak, and a 4-letter word. Because what he did though, like he
Yes,
just caught
yes.
it. He does the thing that I hate people do. He just hopped backwards and just nobody could touch him, and he ran
His acceleration is so otherworldly. He's literally maybe the only guy who
a
can do
cheetah.
that.
He's
And
a cheetah.
yeah,
The nickname
yeah,
sticks. But that one right there, you were at the 148 mark. You had timeouts. You just scored. You were up 17. You could have just scored. You would have been up 17-7. You get the ball back with Josh Allen in timeouts and 148. Like the game's over. That's put a fork in it. Instead, you miss the field goal. They get the 3rd and 10. They run out the clock after getting that 3rd and 10. And now you're going into halftime tied, not able to double dip. You get that ball back at the 148 mark with timeouts and Josh, and you know you're getting the ball at half, dude. That's double dip city. That's ripping this game apart and wide open, and we're just partying the whole night. But that's the weird part about the NFL. There's probably 4 or 5 game plays mixed into this that kept Miami in this game when they didn't belong.
and it's those kind of plays that get frustrating. The Bills do come out to open the second half, and reestablish things. 8 plays, 61 yards. Open up with a touchdown. Like, all right, let's calm down. Everybody take a breath. We even get into like a long 2nd and 20. Josh gets back 19 yards of it, where Dalton Kincaid defended his honor going
Mhm.
after Terrell Dodson.
Josh
Dalton
was
Kincaid
letting those
easily.
guys know something too after the play. I don't know if he
Oh
was
yeah,
just reminding them of their mother's birthdays that were
yeah,
upcoming or something. He was telling them
yeah.
something very passionately after
Yeah,
the
like
play.
important stuff. Dalton Kincaid for sure should have been flagged for for a like one of those unsportsmanlike conduct, like at late hits that everybody understands and is okay with. But he easily should have gotten flagged for that when he went after Terrell Dodson after that play. So I'm glad that Josh Allen's like aura of him getting calls also applies to our guys defending him not getting calls. So I'll take that.
When your team's
Josh
good, you
goes,
don't get the calls as much.
yeah, take it. I'll take it. He goes right back to Dalton Kincaid. I know I saw a nugget here from producer Colin. Dalton Kincaid is the first tight end in Bills history to have 4+ catches in each of the first 3 games of a season. So that breakout you referenced being reinforced there. I like that one.
I think that's just one of many. Dalton Kincaid being the first tight end in Bills history, because one, it's not great.
Our history, it's a low bar.
It's a low bar, and I think he'll be the tight end that starts to pass a lot of the records on that bar. But the nice thing about that play too, the 2nd and 1, this is like, again, the optics and narratives that sort of pop up within the season. I've heard more people say online and in person after the first couple of weeks, sick of the Kincaid screen. They don't want to see screens to Kincaid anymore, but this 19-yarder was a screen to Kincaid. Like, so just because it doesn't work the 1 or 2 times you see it doesn't mean there isn't like some part of the play broke down. That's still a good play.
Yeah. Shout out to Elijah Moore and Khalil Shakir, our 2 smallest receivers with some incredible blocking on that play.
Yep.
The team got marked for a sack on this first down play. It was 1000% our quarterback power sweep. Like, it was a called run for sure. Like, it was absolutely a called run, quarterback power. And they called, that's the play where like Brooks, like they had him and Brooks kept going and going and going and ended up getting the late hit on Josh for the tackle. It got marked as a sack, and I was like, how in the world do they mark that as a passing play?
Because there is a pass attempt on the play, right? Because there is a receiver going out. It's that play where it's an option play for Josh, where somebody's going out for a pass. He can throw it or he can QB power it.
Josh had no intention of
but he did do one of these
to
trick the defender. And so I think because there was a receiver in play, I think the tackle for loss becomes a sack. I'm just defending why they credit it.
We go right back on the next play.
Possible.
Yeah. James Cook shoots right up the middle. Pretty easy touchdown. And here
back to business.
And now we come right back with touchdown 3 and out. Like, this is exactly what you would want to start this game. And we get, Trey has a great play, blowing up the play early here, triggers quick.
Boy Walker with a big play on 2nd and 13 too.
Yes, we get there and get ourselves into a really nice position. And all of a sudden now you're feeling really good and we get the ball back. Okay, let's put this one away. And now this is where we've had multiple opportunities. And I was like, why can't we just put this team away? They want to quit. Let them quit. And we answer back with a 3 and out. Then the defense does it again. We get another 3 and out for them. Okay, fine. We messed around the first time, but this time we're going to do it.
Real quick, we passed over 2 things that made me sick to my stomach on that first 3 and out. Benford got hurt, and I wasn't sure if it was for real. Yeah. I hated that 3 minutes I didn't know. And 2,
and also
Codrington
like crazy Taylor Rapp friendly fire piece
because of course. And
he's making a play on the ball. I will say, I get that it's frustrating that his style of play leads to that so often. This was not like him being a crazy reckless. Example. Like, he was making a play on the ball.
It was a normal play. And I just want Greg, our friend at Left Turn, to know he wasn't the only person to send me a text message similar to the one that he sent us in our group. But then Codrington muffing that punt, and thank God he recovered, because that, like, in this type of game where it's like you're feeling okay, we're getting the ball back, we're gonna do some, and then this is the kind of play that would keep a team like that around. And you hate to see it from Codrington because he's been pretty fantastic, I think, this year in the kick return game. And he's made some bad decisions in the punt game, but like I haven't been mad. This was the first one where I was like, don't like that, man. You got to cover that.
Huge shout out here. Zach Hilton said the Discord channel had people at the stadium giving us updates that he didn't even go into the tent, which kind of reassured us that it was just getting the wind knocked out of him. But again, a chance to put it away. We don't do it. We get a 3 and out. Then we go right back. We get another 3 and out from their team. Give ourselves a shot, get the ball back here. Thank God Codrington fair catches it here. We get a little something going. Josh converts on a 3rd down. We move the ball a little bit. we get ourselves into a 3rd and long, and we're, Ty Johnson drops the ball that he wasn't going to get the first down anyways. He would have had to shake like 3 different people. And now we're like, we just go incomplete, and give the ball back. And like, why can't we put this team away? Like, we just refuse to.
Yeah.
And again, when now we're to a point in the game where even though we're better, even though this Miami team has looked terrible, now you've let them reassure themselves that, oh, we can hang with this team. We can get this done. And they go on a 9-play, 67-yard touchdown drive.
Yeah. Before we get to that drive, there's a couple things that happened actually in here. They're pretty good. That defensive stand on the 3 and out where they get the false start, and then they come up and it's a 3rd and 5, and McDermott takes a timeout before the false start. Right there, they get a false start, and it looked like they were going to go back to a 3rd and whatever it would have been, 3rd and
10 instead of
3rd and 5.
And also, Tyreek Hill was off the field on that play. So I was super nervous. I'm like, oh my God, you just used a defensive timeout because you didn't like the look. Not only did you save them from a false start,
right? In hindsight, you can't
let
blame a coach.
Hill get back on the field.
Correct. But smart, because they got into the play they wanted. They ran a blitz. AJ Epinesa was right in his face, and they get the stop. And it was a huge stop in the game at that point. So that was big. And then I want to point out that earlier I said I'm ready to kind of crown Kincaid as it's happening for us. Like what we wanted to happen is happening. And Coleman is so close to it is happening because he's right there on this drive. Coleman on that 2nd and 10, he has to have it. It was a comeback. It was that's what he's supposed to be for Josh Allen in this offense. If he's gonna be, I don't want to say the number 1, but whatever, 1B, if he's gonna be the alpha they want to talk about on this receiver core, he has to catch that one. That's one.
They should have got us to like 3rd and 2. They should have been 8 yards. They should have got us to 3rd and 2.
Yeah.
It should have given us an easy conversion there to keep moving the ball.
Especially when your offense needs that. It was a good throw. It hit him in the hands. You got to catch that one, man. I can live with drops. I'm not going to be mad about it, but I mark that as like that's why he's not it yet. Yeah, for sure.
Those plays we need. He's getting the slant. We know he's got the jump ball. We got those different ones. That comeback route where you can use your physicality and box out and just make that catch. You got to be able to do it.
Josh is going to hit you. He's going to hit you right there. But yeah, so that was a frustrating one for me because then you get another.
Rasul Douglas was very physical on that play. Like there was a lot of hand fighting. I'm glad they didn't call it because I think that Padden was just saying that he was slow to turn. It's because of the hand fighting that he was slow to turn. He was trying to push off just as much as Rasul was trying to stop him. But it was,
I need him to catch
right
it
there
for sure. Yeah.
And now again, you let Miami hang around, you let them get confidence. They put together a 9-play, 67-yard scoring drive, 5 minutes and 40 seconds, takes it into and through the 4th quarter, ending the 3rd quarter here. They get the 16-yard run by Ali Gordon, who looked explosive tonight, like really, really good. Thank God we got their offensive lineman downfield a couple times because took away a really nice 16-yard play by Hill, their tight end. But they kept moving the ball down the field and kept going to it. Then now you get the ones where it's frustrating, where Waddle, on 4th down just creates way too much space. And then you get that play where, I love Christian Benford, but he's never going to be an elite athlete. So that play where Tua just throws it to space and just trusts that Tyreek's going to pull away in time, those are tough. Those are the ones where, it's you need to be able to get home with pressure. You need to be able to force Tua to get rid of that ball earlier, not be able to do that. And instead, Tyreek Hill comes up with it, gets the touchdown, and now we're sitting there. It's the 4th quarter, and we're tied against the Miami Dolphins.
Tua had, especially on drives like that, like I'm torn because there was a decent amount of pressure tonight, and I think it led to a lot of the 3 and outs that we saw. I think that the Bills did a good job doing run defense on 1st down. I think they did a good job. So like there were some really good things about the defensive line that I am happy about and I want to celebrate on tonight. But then I'm watching, I got the highlights on right here, right now, and I'm seeing a lot of clean pockets, especially with interior pressure. Like you saw Bosa get some edge pressure, but then Tua could step up into the pocket and just make a clean throw. And because he was throwing so quick, like if that pressure is not there, again, I'm not expecting necessarily sacks, but you can't give, like, we can make fun of Tua for many things, but the one thing he's going to be good at is stepping into a clean pocket and making a timing rhythm throw, which he was able to do quite a bit on some of these longer drives.
Yeah. So luckily, our response here is my Herr drive of the game. This combination, they come back. It's a tied game. It's in the fourth quarter. You have to have an answer. We're able to put that together here. James Cook right off the bat gets the first down. We get all the way to a 3rd and 7. It's feeling like, oh my God, I can't believe it. We get the incompletion. It's now 4th and 7. I'm even like kind of sort of like, well, it's at midfield. Do you trust the defense here? They just gave up a score. I'm not really sure. And, into that moment, I'm like, oh my God, are we going to let the Dolphins win this game? We get the roughing the punter.
Yeah, I was about to make a comment about how many, like, one punt was too many punts tonight, and now you're going like back to back to back punts here. Not feeling great.
Would have been the 3rd straight one. And like, how are we letting this inferior team hang around? We get the crazy roughing the punter call. We're able to keep the drive alive. They cash in. We go run, get the ball down into the red zone, get the one pass to Josh Palmer, his only one of the game, and then really great call. I knew earlier in the game, you saw this play call with the orbit motion return, and afterwards you see they just happened to be showing Josh Khalil Shakir going to him, telling him how wide open the play was, and you see Josh go, oh, and like that he went early in another direction and didn't go back to Shakir, and Shakir told him they waited for this moment to go back to it. They set it up. They got a great block by Dalton Kincaid on this play on the edge. Khalil Shakir goes in for the touchdown. And then although they made us pay for it and stress by letting the Dolphins get their way down the field, ultimately we get the quick win. Deanne Walker with the immediate swim move, instant win, rushes the play, taps the ball a little bit. Terrell Bernard jumps the route, coming back the other way. Tua locks on, to Jalen Waddle, never sees Terrell Bernard coming, throws it to him for the gimme game-ending interception. That combination of being able to take advantage of the penalty, convert it, go back to the play call that worked, finally get something to go in, come back, seal it with the interception. My Herr drive of the game.
I like it. I had it circled for a Herr drive of the game because it is the most important part of the game, right? Like, you needed it to flip this way to have the result that we ended up seeing here. I didn't because of the penalty. I was torn but they capitalized on that, right? Like, they still had to come out and do it. And the funny thing on this drive, Greg, is in my live tweeting and in my live socialing on this is I was so frustrated with the offense at the fact that they were about to punt on a 4th and 7, and that it felt like that mentality that they had at the beginning of the game where it was very business-like and they just came out and they were handling business and there wasn't a sense of urgency. It was like, we're just here to do business. Felt like it was still there in a tied game in the fourth quarter up into the point where they got that kick. And I was like, where's the urgency? Put Josh in God mode and end this thing right now. Yeah. But then I kind of ate my words because after that punt, they came out and they actually handled it perfectly and stayed calm and stayed within themselves and stayed in that same business-like mentality and really drained a lot of clock here. They played it perfectly. Not only did they get the results that they wanted, but they took up a good amount of clock and they let that clock run and they ate into that as much as they could while still having some urgency to score. And so I thought that was a nice balance of, hey, we've been here before. We've been in these tight games. We're not going to change what the game plan is. And we're not going to listen to Aaron Quinn 716, that idiot on Twitter that's yelling at Joe Brady right now to speed things up and have more urgency. They stuck to the plan and it worked out. And the results resulted, as Sean McDermott would say.
Yeah. And, then they get the interception. They run the clock there. They get the game sealer to Elijah Moore where he breaks it for 30 yards, even gets them into field goal range there because that initial penalty certainly made it seem like it was going to be weird. They're in 1st and 20. That gets them back to that spot and being able to go through. Zach saying the first crucial mistake from either team was the roughing, then the pick. Finn's pressed too much and we didn't cause, we know these situations, because we're used to them in that spot. That big play by Elijah Moore gets it to where now, when we're able to run the clock, force Miami to use their timeouts, now we get a field goal out of it. I like that they got the other field goal there to give Prater another shot, 48-yarder, nice kick, get that confidence back.
Unlike me on the golf course, because once I get a shank, the shanks don't go away for me.
They don't go away. All right, let's bring up our fantastic producer, Colin Ritchie. Give us some of the best nuggets from tonight's game. Colin, welcome. What are some of your best gems that you found for stats for tonight's game?
For our folks at Southern Tier out there, what's brewing on the internet tonight?
Yeah, there we go. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be discourse about Sean McDermott, whether it's a 10-point win, whether it's a 1-point win, whether it's a loss. I will say Sean McDermott now has a .889 win percentage against the Dolphins, which is the second best by any head coach versus a single opponent in NFL history with a minimum of 15 games played.
Wow.
So
really, really impressive.
We own the Dolphins.
And a Charles Clay drop at the end of Josh's first one. And then the sunstroke game from being 16-0. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
The Bills have 16 wins versus the Dolphins, which is tied for the most against any opponent since 2017. That's including the playoffs because we had that Skylar Thompson win in there.
Josh has to have extended his touchdown record because I know he was the most touchdowns ever was 45 touchdowns in 15 games. Now it's 48 touchdowns in 16 games because he gets 3 touchdowns every single day, at least 3 touchdowns every time he plays the Dolphins. So just extending his record.
Yes. And speaking about Josh Allen and records, we have a lot of touchdown related things with Josh Allen. He's tied with Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, and Kirk Cousins for the 6th fastest in NFL history to reach 200 career passing touchdowns. And then he also surpassed Patrick Mahomes to become the fastest player to reach 300 career total touchdowns when including the playoffs. And he's the first player in NFL history to reach 200 passing and 50 rushing touchdowns in his career.
Not bad.
Every week.
Bad.
Every week it's a
Josh is the first quarterback in NFL history. That's it. Josh is just the first quarterback in NFL history.
Yep.
And I love that post game he was trying to undress Ryan Fitzpatrick, I believe.
So I wasn't watching the post game because I was producing, but there were some comments, then also some chatter on Twitter about Josh slowly unbuttoning one at a time. And then at the end, Dion lifted his shirt up. He joined the table. And then Fitz ripped it open at the end too. And
so the crowd was chanting one more button.
I was going to interrupt you. You were in the middle of some really excellent point you were making, Greg. And I didn't want to interrupt you, but I did because the Deion Dawkins belly rub was definitely Greg Tompsett content.
Nice. I'll go and
you'll see it. I'm sure. I bet somebody even tagged you in it.
Yeah. All right, guys. We appreciate it. Fantastic work as always, Colin. Make sure you check out our friends over at Southern Tier Brewing Company. Awesome stuff to enjoy as well. Overall, the chat, you guys were awesome again tonight. Thank you so much for all the super chats. We appreciate you guys very, very much. Thank you for joining us here tonight. So many of you here live with us here. Nick out Hawes, the only hit people and catch touchdowns. That's it. Just makes plays every time he's on the field. And honestly, that trio of 3 tight ends, man, that's looking juicy. Like we're able to run so incredibly out of it. There's going to be more play action leak plays coming out of there. It's going to be really, really good stuff. I'm going to keep telling myself 25th straight game without losing the turnover battle. Another one there. Just, smart play.
I was told years ago that you couldn't keep doing this.
No,
that was years back.
Unsustainable. No, we appreciate you guys. On behalf of fantastic producer Colin Ritchie and my lovely co-host Aaron Quinn, I am Greg Tompsett. You have been listening to Cover One Buffalo, and we are